He is. Craig Anderson is fine. Yeah, no issue other than lots of days and maintenance. Um, so it's better off taking the day off today, and there's nothing I'm concerned with him. So he'll be right back at it.
Is that going to be an ongoing thing with a guy who's 41 years old as the season goes on?
You know, when you have, I mean, he's in his 40s, and anybody in their 40s knows that's a lot different than being in your 20s. And this is a sport dominated by, physical, the ability to play at a physically high level. So, the work to rest ratio is totally different for Craig and will be, and it is for guys in their 30s. Um, and we recognize that as an organization, as a coach, before when you're thinking of your team, um, you know, they need less than a young guy does to get prepared for the next game. That's the positive of it. Craig Anderson knows how to get himself ready for the next game. Kyle Okposo, Zemgus Girgenson's the same thing. They have such an incredible sense of objective. That's why they're still in the league. So they don't need the repetitions that the other guys benefit from. They've benefited from those repetitions over the years, and I think so while we're talking about Craig, I think you can put more guys in that category, and guys throughout the league. They just don't need the reps in between games and in between sessions that the younger players benefit from.
Certainly a setback that Sean Malone wasn't able to make the start of camp, but I mean, what's it like? He's out there again practicing fully, so you get back into things.
Nice to see. And Sean I've known because I coach him at the national team program, and he continues to make himself a better hockey player, and his confidence continues to grow. So it is nice to get him in full practice with lots of we had a lot of returning older guys in there today, and nice for him and nice to see.
How much of an option, he really helped Rochester leadership-wise to make himself a bit of an option, but how important was he down there last year in your mind to have a guy who's been around?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be down there and see more. What I saw, he was great. He was injured quite a bit. We talked a lot last year about recalling him, and injuries were an issue, in those discussions, obviously. But the coaches and guys that watch Rochester and are in Rochester full time, have such a high respect for him, as a player and what he does for them as the organization and the team and teammates. So I saw that too with him, even as a young kid. Just a good person, and obviously a good hockey player.
Having been around him for a while, I mean, he's had some injuries he's dealt with at times in his career. Last year, like he said, but he always seems to come out better from the experience. Why do you think that?
Loves the game. When you're out injured and you miss it, you are determined to come back better. And lots of times, you guys have heard me say it. Lots of times, guys come back a better player. They just get to step back and gain a hindsight that they wouldn't have otherwise, and they figure out how to add something to their game. They can assess things differently because they're not in the heat of the day every day. And I think that anybody that loves a game, that's usually what happens.
Don, when you've got a team that's this young but with this much talent and ready to kind of make that push, what's the secret to knowing when they're ready to make that push and start challenging for a playoff spot? Are there signals that you'll get during training camp or at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, there's lots and lots of signals that you just that's I guess over the years of experience and watching growth of individual players and teams and speed and of system implementation and those sorts of things. Lots of things that you look for, indicators. The greatest one is the context, right? We don't know what the 31 other teams are. We can suspect what they are, like all of us do, based on last year and maybe what they added. But until you get the context of day one in the NHL and as it goes through, you have to reassess at that moment what to work on next and what you may be able to capitalize on next based on how you're performing. And a big part of that is confidence. I think our confidence has grown, our competitiveness has grown. Those are really, really core things for anything else systematically you want, and certainly our skill and execution have grown. You can run the same system, and there's lots of overlap between coaches throughout the league. I'd say it's probably 85% overlap in systems. So it's not systems that make the difference. It's the skill and the experience. And we will continue to focus and make sure we're guarding and protecting that growth in those areas. And I like where our guys are. They continue to push to that objective.
Don, you were in Columbus last night, a place you know well from your days with the Chill. Was there a bit of a throwback there, getting on a bus?
Yeah, it actually, in a weird, probably odd, sick way, it felt good. It's felt like hockey. And I think, circumstances dictated that we did that. We talked to the guys, and there was a genuine curiosity and excitement of let's do it. And we don't have to do it. It's a lot easier to do it when you only have to do it once. Let's be real with that. So it was a one-off situation, and we liked it as coaches. But then the next thing we do is, okay, now do we have to sell this to the players? And they were excited actually about it. We were able to get the guys, most of the guys, I think 4 guys played the back-to-back. So the other guys we knew we had enough lead time that we could get them on a bus the day before. So those 4 guys that played back-to-back, credit to them because they're the ones that had to ride a bus yesterday. And I thought all 4 of them played really well.
Having Nolan Power last year for those 8 games, are you noticing anything beneficial when you see him at camp this year? And is he less of a rookie than how he typically would be?
Yeah, I think that the answer to your second question, less of a rookie, absolutely. He's very intuitive guy. So having him play the 8 games he did, that's, the saying hindsight's 20/20. He has hindsight. He had hindsight going into the summer how big, strong, fast, smart NHL players were. He got to play against Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews and on, and got a feel for, okay, what do I need to do to acclimate, to this? And like I said, he's a very intuitive guy. Wherever there's a lack of, maybe any lack of that intuition, he supplements it very well with drive. I just walked to the bench while you guys were down here. He's the only guy on the ice right now. As I walked in here, working on extra stuff. So he's very determined to learn more. He's a self-teacher, which is a beautiful thing for us as coaches. You always want guys to take initiative in that realm. Coaches talk about coachability. I think that means an ability to coach yourself and grasp what's being put in front of you, and he does a tremendous job at that. So I'm looking forward to watching him grow and probably grow at a really fast rate.
Well, you still have a bigger group here and a couple days between games. Just what are some of the things you're trying to reinforce, in practice, on and off the ice?
Yeah, it is a bigger group. We'll have a breakdown coming after the next game. And I think, if you look at a regular NHL schedule, it's usually 1 practice day, maybe 2, but probably an average of just over 1 practice day in between games. And when, NHL players, you get in that rhythm in a regular season, even as coaches, if you have 3 practice days, you're like, these guys just want to play a game. So we're on day 8 of training camp now, with lots of guys running 2 sessions. So it can drag. So I was happy with the way our guys are pushing through it. And as we pare down, practices will change dramatically. Pace will obviously pick up quite a bit, and we'll start honing in on getting ready for the season. I think the first week was just getting back to feeling good about your game and fighting through where you don't feel good about your game. And I think the next phase, as we pare down, is getting back up to the NHL pace.
Lawrence Pilot, from a few years ago, it seems like he evolved in the KHL. How is he a different defenseman today maybe than he was in 2019?
Yeah, I am, as far as watching Lawrence, he played a few games for us when I was here, my first year here, and I got a feel for him, but I didn't. He wasn't here long enough to really get to know him in the details of his game. So it's tough to answer the question, how much better is he? But what I do love about him is he's got a really good base. I mean, again, my feel for him a couple of years ago, I know we wanted him back, and we were excited that he was coming back, and then all of a sudden he ended up in the KHL, which was very unfortunate because we were excited at the potential he had. But he's another guy that's determined. He's quick. He's agile. He plays. His attributes fit the style we want to play. More aggressive, more assertive, more skating out of our defensemen. And he fits the personality too. I think he fits in our locker room very well. So I'm just excited, as anybody else, to just watch him and continue to evaluate, where he is and what he can do. It's, again, within the context of a training camp. It's not within the context of regular season NHL. So there's still curiosity on my side, but a definite optimism.